Hello and welcome to Switch Flicks, the show where we love and hate movies at the same time. I'm your host Haisam, and with me today is the cradle-robbing cougar, Katie. How you doing, Katie?
Hi, yeah. So while Anne Hathaway has been enjoying the idea of falling in love with a younger man, I've been enjoying the idea of falling in love with a guy that works at Nando's so I can get free chicken.
Ooh, you can get yourself a cheeky Mando. Today on the show, we're going to review and debate the new Anne Hathaway Amazon Prime film, The Idea of You. But before we begin, let's look at the rules of the show.
The rules of the show are simple. Our critics review a film, but one of them has to love it and the other has to hate it. And who does what is determined by the flip of a coin. But there's another catch. At any point during the debate, either one of them can shout, "Switch!" At which point, the opponents have to instantly switch positions. So if they loved it, they now have to hate it, and if they hated it, now they have to love it. Let the games begin!
Let the games begin indeed. But for them to begin, Katie first has to flip the coin of fate. If it lands on heads, she loves the idea of you. If it lands on tails, she hates it.
Ready?
Ready?
Oh, tails.
You hate the idea of me, the you. I absolutely loved the idea of you. It's romantic. It made me swoon. Anne Hathaway looks beautiful. It made all my dreams as a middle aged man come true. This is exactly the kind of movie we need in this day and age. I loved the idea of you.
This movie is not the type of movie that we need in this day and age. This movie, let me tell you, Anne Hathaway, I do not believe for 1 second that anyone could hate Anne Hathaway. We're supposed to feel sorry for Anne Hathaway. We don't feel sorry for her. She's beautiful. She's supposed to, she said that she made this movie to announce that she is 40. Well, Anne Hathaway, you look 30. You look younger than me in this movie. We don't believe for a second that you're 40.
And that's what's so amazing about the film. It's wish fulfillment. It's older people, we can look at it and be like, I can find love too. I can be loved by somebody who's young and youthful. And I was losing hope. I won't lie. Before I watched this movie, I was like, I'm going to die alone. But then I watched this movie and I said, if Anne Hathaway can have a guy from a boy band fall in love, then why can't I?
So why
Me,
would you want a man from a boy band to fall in love with you? She could have anyone in the world. This guy is dull. For a start, he comes into her art shop, buys everything with no regard for her talent, for her eye for art. He doesn't know anything about it. He's not interested in what she does at all. He's just looking at her face value. He wants to have sex with her. That's what he wants.
switch.
And that is why I love the idea of you. It's exciting. This sort of relationship that just comes out of nowhere. They meet in this completely strange way at Coachella. It's unbelievable, but that's what I like about it. That's what I like about it. She stumbles into his caravan to
Yeah.
use the toilet.
Oh, yeah, that's so romantic. It's romantic when it happens to Anne Hathaway, yeah? But when I went to pee on Zendaya, they arrested me. They were like, that's not a real thing. Don't do that. So I'm a creep if I do it. But if Anne Hathaway does it, it's cool. Come on. I'm not buying any of this. This is not romantic. This is creepy.
No,
Uh,
not creepy at all. She's beautiful, she's sophisticated, he's hot, he's young, and they make the perfect couple. Perfect
oh,
couple.
okay, let's face it. 40-year-old women should not be dating at all. Be it younger or older, you're past your prime. This movie was an Amazon Prime. Prime my ass. Okay, that's what I think. Anne Hathaway used to be so fun. Remember Princess Diaries when she was young? Watching her be 40 now made me think of my own age. and
Look,
that made
she's
me
not
sad.
the Queen of Genovia anymore. She's gotten older. She's representing the women in the world that are getting older, that are single again or still single, and she's showing that we can fall in love as well, and we can fall
She's
in
the
love with
queen of
anyone we want.
gonorrhea because she's having sex with this man from a boy band.
Switch.
She is having the time of her life, right? She's living the dream, and I love it. So this movie is based on a romance book, and it's like a steamy, sexy romance, and that is something that we don't see enough adaptations of, right? There are enough movies for older women made this day. We have Barbie, and we have The Idea of You, and which is why this movie is so good. It hits upon the fantasy of a specific audience who they don't make enough movies for. And I, for one, thought the characters were great. They were fun. It was romantic. I loved their conversations. They were deep, and it made me swoon.
It's great. No, they weren't deep, and it wasn't romantic. I didn't believe for one second that these two people were in love with each other, and that it was cheesy as well. The looks that they give each other when they see each other, firstly in the trailer, and then in the last scene when he walks back into the art shop. That look. That is
Yeah.
so cheesy. That's so outdated. That is not how people fall in love. That's a fairy
Wow.
tale.
Exactly. This is a fairy tale, and I don't know what happened to made you this cynical. This is a movie that is for the eternal optimist, the lovers, like me, right? I saw this movie, and oh man, the scene when he's over at her house and they kiss. That first kiss is one of the best screen kisses of all time, especially when she's like, "I'm too old for you," and he grabs her by the back of her neck, pulls her in, and kisses her. I was just, I paused the movie and took a cold shower, came back, and continued.
I didn't believe it. It wasn't believable. And I also think, well, let's talk about about the structure of this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, the structure of this movie is so strange. Okay, we have about three conclusions. About three times, Anne Hathaway decides, yeah, okay, I'm going to be with this guy, and then all of a sudden, she changes her mind again. What's with the 4-5 act structure of this movie?
Exactly. This movie had 3 climaxes. You know what I mean? And it wasn't the only thing that had 3 climaxes. And it's different. We're so used to watching rom-coms that have the same generic structure, right? This movie says, no, what happens after the happily ever after? It's not all roses and sunshine. It's paparazzi. This movie takes the structure that we all know about rom-coms. The reason why we watch rom-coms is because we know exactly what's going to happen and we want to feel good. Instead, this movie wants to lecture us about young and old, and I don't really care. I just want to see beautiful people do beautiful things and fall in love. I don't need to know about, oh, how difficult it is to date a celebrity. Oh my god, it's so terrible.
Well, I think this movie is. I think it's important for the storyline that these two people have this age difference, right? But that they're actually so similar. This guy has been in a boy band his whole life. He's been forced to, go on tour, travel the world, be followed by paparazzi every single day of his life. Give the guy a break, and his break is Anne Hathaway, and that is, it's two people that are two genuinely in love. Despite everything that's against them, they can still be together in the end.
I think you are living in the past if that's what you think. And I think the main problem is that I didn't buy the romance. Anne Hathaway is, of course, great. She actually performs well. She usually, when I see Anne Hathaway, I think she's overacting. She goes over the top, but in this, she performs well. But the male lead is absolutely no match. He's not charming. He's not attractive. I did not know what she saw in him, as opposed to the other way around, which is what's happening in the movie.
That's what she saw in him. He's British and he's charming, and it's the British accent, it's the awkwardness, it's the fumblingness of him.
Switch.
And he's British. rank. He's fumbling. He's awful. He's not romantic at all. He's there in his trailer and he's having someone dress him. He's how is he attractive to Anne Hathaway at all?
He is such a beautiful man with his singing voice, right? He serenades her. And I thought the music was really great. As a One Direction fan, I was like, here we go. Here is what I want to see in a movie. This guy is the next Zayn Malik, right? He's British too, which I absolutely love. Nothing better, more attractive than a British singer, I think. Um, I thought, when I watched the movie May December, I thought, I want this movie, but I want it to be a romance. And that's what I got when I watched The Idea of You. And therefore, I really loved it. I think the movie also very cleverly speaks to women's issues, right? This is a feminist film because it's so hard to be a woman uh, in the modern world, and this movie speaks to that, what it's like to be a
It's
woman
not
in
a
the modern.
feminist film. I feel like she gives up way too much of herself. Okay, this guy comes into her art gallery, takes the piss basically out of what she's doing, buys up all her stuff, doesn't ask her. He doesn't ask her a single question about what she thinks about the world, about life, about issues. He doesn't take any interest in her at all. And then all of a sudden she's traveling the world with him. She gives up everything for him. And yes, in the end, she decides that it's not going to work out for her kid's sake. But if she didn't have the kid, she would just completely change herself for this guy. And that is not right.
It's wish fulfillment, right? It is this idea that somebody comes, sweeps you off your feet. He's a billionaire, buys your art, and then she goes to, she gets to travel and wear beautiful clothes. And I think that's what's attractive about the film, right? We get to watch attractive people going to beautiful places, have kind of deep, really great conversation. This movie.
Switch.
No, but here's the thing. Let's take the travel thing, for example, right? They're supposed to be traveling across the world, but we don't actually get to see them travel anywhere. It's just a montage where it says, oh, now they're in Barcelona. Now there's in Italy. Show me Italy. Show me Barcelona. Show me the sights. Show me the sounds. But instead, the movie does that for 5 minutes and then it ends. And then there's another 30 minutes to go where I'm like, why the hell is this going on?
We've seen all that. We've seen the world in other movies. We don't need to see it. The important thing is the relationship between these two people. So all we need to see is them in their most intimate moments, which are beautiful, beautifully filmed, in lovely sets and costume
No,
fantastic.
I think that's the costume's not fantastic. When Anne Hathaway comes to the guy's hotel room and she strips and she's wearing her watch, is that supposed to be sexy? What's with this whole watch thing that they keep
Yes,
doing?
it's sexy. It's an expensive watch. She's wearing it on her wrist, and it's his watch, and it's a moment of, I could have anything I wanted from
Yeah,
you. I can take anything from you I want.
and it's only because she's rich, right? Like if that was like a Casio that he left behind, right, with the calculators, right, would she go back to this guy's hotel room? No, but because it's like some fancy watch, it's sexy, right?
It's about love. It's not about money. It's about love.
Anne Hathaway is a gold digger in this film. And that's what I got. Right, there was nothing else. I was not rooting for them. They have these long conversations about what it was like when she got her divorce and how his parents did. This guy has mommy issues, which is why he's dating Anne Hathaway. How am I supposed to find this romantic?
She's got her own money, right? Let's just go back to that for a second. She's seen the size of her house, her car, her art gallery. She owns that place and she runs it, and she's got people working for her. She's got her own
Yeah,
money. This is not about money.
right. Oh, this is completely about money, right? Her fridge doesn't work. She needs the money, right? And then there's this, and she probably got her other money from the divorce, because let's face it, that's how women get money. Okay,
But we
uh,
don't know what her ex-husband does, do we?
we don't really. He's not even a real character. He's just a guy who's like he does all the asshole things and then goes by. We're like, okay, I guess he's an asshole. Um,
He doesn't need to be, his character doesn't need to be any more fool than it is. He's just the ex.
And what I really disliked about the film was like this kind of long musical, like we had to see these music montages of this guy singing on stage, and none of the music is good. It's not good
Switch.
music. The music's fantastic. It's been playing on loop on my Spotify over and over again. I've been singing all the songs. I've been humming it. I know all the lyrics of all the songs in this movie.
Terrible music, and it's supposed to make us believe that this guy is the most famous person in the world. He's got
Switch.
people on his. He's. We believe he's the most famous person in the world, and that's great. We do. He's got paparazzi.
So you're telling me you loved the music of this movie?
I loved the music of this movie.
Oh, why don't you sing me one of the songs that you love so much?
It was do you know what? I've been listening to it so much that I wouldn't do it any justice if I sung the.
No, I would
music
just
of this
I
movie.
want, please try, please. I would just any
I
of
can't,
the songs.
I genuinely can't remember any of the songs in this film.
Oh,
However,
okay. Yeah.
just goes to show that the performances, that the story, that the love, the romance we were talking about earlier was so strong that didn't even matter. I believe that this man is the most famous person in the world, and his talent doesn't matter. He's on Graham Norton.
Oh,
so there
yeah.
you go.
That's the end of our review, and I think that's a perfect time to talk about what we each really thought about the idea of You. Katie?
What did I really think about the idea of You? So I only finished watching this movie a couple of hours ago. And I'm still deciding.
Mhm.
There were a lot of times, actually, though, in the movie that I was quite bored. I think it's quite drawn out. It's quite long. It's quite what my biggest issue with it is that I don't quite believe that these two people love each other. I don't believe in the romance that they have, and the moments that they have together just don't seem real enough for me to believe that they're in love.
Okay. Can you talk to me about some of the things that you thought was boring?
I think there's a lot of montage of them being intimate. I think that isn't needed, and just because the dialogue isn't great leading up to it, and because the chemistry isn't there between them, that those montages just don't hit the way that I think that they want them to. Not for me, anyway.
That's interesting. I quite like the film, honestly. I didn't think they did have all that much chemistry, and I think that mostly falls down to the guy in it. I can't remember the actor's name, but I don't think he kind of really pulls it off completely. Like, I think there's this scene where he leaves the watch, they have this conversation, and he leaves the watch, and she's like watching his music video at home in bed, and I saw the music video, and I would absolutely look at that music video and be like, nope, right? I think, would you look at that music video and then be like, oh, I'm gonna date this guy? Or would you just like, no, this guy's not for me?
That to me was a really strange moment, because I don't think it's not the sort of come to bed film music video that she
right, like
he's dancing with four other guys,
right? If he is like a rock star or something along the lines, as opposed to being in a boy band, like I kind of get it. He's like dangerous and bad boy, but he's really not. He's kind of vanilla, very like plain bread kind of dude. Like his tattoos, like my girlfriend saw his tattoos and was like, yuck, like those tattoos are awful. They're not like sexy tattoos. And so
he's also like, I know that there's conflict in the way that their situations are. That's the conflict. But also there's this weird moment where one of his bandmates mentions another girl that he sung this song to, and that's supposed to be conflict. But there's no other thing that's keeping them apart, and I'm like, why don't you guys just be together? I don't.
So I kind of alluded to this during our debate. But the book, I haven't read the book that this thing is based on, right? But the genre of this book is kind of a sexy romance novel, right? And so it's like fan fiction. the band is supposed to be One Direction, and it's like a take on that. And this older woman meets him, and then they have a bunch of sex. And it's supposed to be kind of fairy tale-y and not a lot of conflict. And the guy's supposed to be really amazing. It's not
Okay.
supposed to. It's kind of like the women's version of like James Bond in a way, right? Where it's just like this cool guy who sleeps with anybody he wants and just saves the world and wears cool clothes and drives nice cars, right?
I don't really think he gives off. Yeah, he doesn't give off that in the film.
Yeah, it's somebody's fantasy, right? It's not
Yeah.
your fantasy, I suppose,
No.
or mine.
I didn't realize it was such a widely, a widely
Yeah,
spread fantasy. I don't know anyone that has that fantasy. I'm not sure
yeah,
if I've asked anybody though. Maybe I should
me
start
neither.
asking people.
What are you gonna ask them? Do you like young boys? Is that? I don't know if you should.
No, I don't. They make a very good point, a big point of his age as well at one point, don't they?
Yeah,
That he's 24. So this
yeah,
is all okay. We're not May
yeah.
December in here.
No. I think what I did like about the movie, I think Anne Hathaway is really good in the film. And I did enjoy just scenes of them kind of hanging out and talking. I thought it was funny. There was like 3-4 lines where I actually had like kind of laugh out loud moments. It's not really a romantic comedy, I wouldn't say, but it's charming enough uh, at different times. It kind of knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to do anything more than that, but it is long. I did feel like, oh, why is this movie ended and there's still 30 minutes left? Um,
Yeah, I
and the
thought it was definitely.
songs, I hate anytime there was a song, I was like, I just want to fast forward. The music is good.
I did kind of mean that though, in that it doesn't really matter about the songs, right?
Yeah,
It's not a musical, so we're fine.
you're right. But there is like when they perform, we watch him perform for like the whole song. Like we watch a minute or 2 minutes of this, and maybe they're just trying to sell CDs or something of the movie. We're supposed to like this band, but at no point did I see him. Every time he sang, he became less attractive. That's how I felt.
I
And
didn't mind at the end when he was on the Graham Norton show and
yeah,
he sang. He's now a solo artist, I take it.
yeah,
And it's a little bit more believable that they would be able to fall in love then. He looks a bit more mature, even though his facial hair is a bit strange.
and it is more like he's kind of got this like really brooding thing going where he's just playing the guitar and he's got a bit of a stubble, and men with stubbles are very sexy. um
How
so
long between what kind of year jump forward is that? Because they say 3 years, right?
I think they say 5, so I assume it's like
Oh,
5 years in the
right.
future.
So he's like 31.
Yeah, I've seen
Yes.
this other movie with the same guy, and I think it's called Royal Red, White, and Blue. I want to say that was the name of it. In it, he plays uh, the son of the queen. He's one of like the he's British royalty, and he falls in love with the American president's son. And it's kind of this gay romance about these two people. So I've seen him in that movie before.
Okay.
And so seeing him in this movie with Anne Hathaway, it made me even more like, oh, what's going on here, right?
Yeah. I think they're sitting on different sort of planes. I think that I see him as like a Hallmark character,
Yeah,
and I see her as Anne Hathaway.
yeah.
So
She's a real
like,
person, it feels.
yeah. Her performance is fantastic, and
Yeah.
she looks great,
And I
she's
really liked
great.
her relationship with her daughter. I thought that was kind of really well handled and mature and kind of different. I'm
Yeah.
so used to watching like mothers and daughters in this show like arguing and like kind of hating each other, but they seem to have like actually a really good relationship, which was kind of refreshing to see.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then the other part of it was there was that scene where at camp, right, at summer camp, where all the other parents come in and everybody else looks like a normal person in that camp except for Anne Hathaway, and it really makes you go like, what's this movie trying to say? Like, what is
Yeah.
right? Or the scene
I
at the pool. Sorry, go on.
Cool, yeah. I also think that I know that people can be cruel, right? But I
Yeah.
think if this was real life
Hmm.
and she'd fallen in love with this guy from this boy band, you do
Yeah.
get these super fans of these boy bands that are really awful to
Mhm.
girlfriends and wives of people that are in these bands. However, my first reaction was like, yeah, you go get it.
Good
You
for
know,
you.
I don't think she would be hounded the way that she is in this movie. Perhaps she would, I don't know. But
Yeah.
there would be a point where people would forget about it
They'd
and
get
they would
bored.
just be a celebrity couple.
Yeah. After a week, people
Um,
get bored, right?
yeah, and they would be
Yeah.
fine.
I did also find the movie to be pretty steamy. Like I did enjoy the thing where their first kiss I thought was really pretty. And I think the thing with the watch, whatever it was, I was like, this is a nice conceit that they have kind of going. Like I liked all that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. For me, I mean, I think the first kiss was good. It was
Yeah.
just all the other kisses after that, and there were a lot of them. There
Yeah.
were a lot of them. I could just see, and actually, like all credit to them because you could see sort of like the breakdown in the
Yeah.
relationship as the strain of his, you know, popularity and him being famous was being put on the relationship. You could see the breakdown in it and in their relationship quite clearly, which was nice to see.
Yeah. I wonder if you would have liked the movie more if you had watched, like, I, for example, watched it with one of my really good friends, and we both sat on the couch on the weekend in our pajamas and eating ice cream and pizza and like just kind of watching and like talking about the film, right? And she was just, uh, she was on her periods and she was just like, yeah, and we just kind of enjoyed ourselves, right? And I think on that level, like the movie works if you watch it like that. But if you want to watch it in, like, you were not in that mood, and maybe that's less fun in that case because it's not necessarily a good movie, right?
Yeah, maybe that was the case. It's the context in which I watched it
Yeah.
alone and bitter.
Yeah. You uh, you heard it here. The idea of you, the perfect period film. Um, so just to finish our review, how many watches would you give this movie out of 10?
I'm still deciding, but right now I'm sitting at a 7. You've
Yeah.
convinced me a little bit. I think it was 6 before, and you've given one more watch.
Okay, I'm happy. I would give it a solid 7.5. Again, depends on the mood. If you're in the mood for something like this, I think you can do far worse. And yeah, if you just want to watch beautiful people being beautiful, and not be too much conflict, then this is the movie for you. Thank you so much for listening to our episode of Switch Flicks. Thank you for reviewing it with me, Katie.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with another review. Till then, take care.